Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everybody. Hello. Welcome. We made it. We're all here. Fantastic. I myself only got in. Where are my manners? Who am I? I myself. Who is this bloke? My name's Moorad Choudhry. It is my great pleasure and privilege to be comparing, to be chairing, to be facilitating the 62nd ACI, Financial Markets Association, and ICA Annual Congress. 62nd, 62 years. That's even older than I am, okay? So it's a, that's a joke. Right, it's a real pleasure to be here. We have a fantastic lineup. We have a fantastic venue. I couldn't believe the view out of my hotel room this morning in Aqaba. It's October, the weather is fantastic. Back in England, so I flew in from London this morning. I went to the airport from Guildford in Surrey, and it's pouring down with rain and about 4 degrees C. So I wake up this morning and look at that view. It's fantastic. It is just brilliant to be here. It is such a privilege. It's such a pleasure. Now that you know who I am, I can take this off, can't I? Right, thank you. Right, okay. Right, so we've got a packed program. We have a high-profile program. We have speakers who are at the top of their game. We have topics that are the current focus, the current area for people, anyone working in banking and finance around the world today. And it's a challenging environment. It's a very challenging environment. It's always a bit challenging environment because, let's face it, banking and finance are essentially commoditized products. Let's be honest, right? Let's be honest, okay? It's challenging anyway when there's a whole host of other banks down the high street doing the same as you. But what about today? Today, we have competition not just from banks, but from non-banks. We have ever-continuing geopolitical and regional issues that make it a challenging environment to undertake our business in. We have a return of volatility in interest rates around the world. We have had the inflation genie out of its bottle the last 2 or 3 years around the world. We have a whole host of things, challenges, issues that are occupying our mind as bankers and financial market practitioners in the world today. And I always think when one is faced with these sorts of challenges, simply when trying to do one's own work, it's always good to get together and exchange ideas and offer opinion and challenge at events like this. And the fact that it's been going for 62 years non-stop does tell us something. So you can understand my excitement at being invited by ACI Jordan and ICA to host, or not host, to facilitate today's and tomorrow's conference. Right, okay, so you might have noticed that we've got a interesting motif or slogan for this year's event. Did you notice that? Navigate uncertainties, embrace the flux. If by the end of tomorrow any of you figures out what that actually means, can you please tell me? Because I'm still struggling. But anyway, it sounds good, okay? Let's get back to the program. Okay, we have a packed program. We've got an engaging program. We have an energetic program. We have topics that are very important, as I've just said, and we have speakers who are on the top of their game. Okay, we've got a combination of straight presentations. We've got panel discussions, as hopefully you've noticed from the agenda. We have, hopefully by the end of each day's presentations and panels, a little bit more appreciation of the challenges that we're going to be meeting when we go back to our day job, okay, and how we're going to meet them. Right, fantastic. That's enough for me, okay? I don't really want to be doing too much talking between now and 5 o'clock tomorrow, okay? So if I do too much talking, something's gone a bit wrong, okay? And you guys are going to have to start smiling a bit when I crack a gag. Otherwise, I'm going to think I'm not working as a stand-up comedian. Now, that's also a joke. Thank you. Right, let's proceed then. It is my great pleasure to kick off with a welcome from the chairman of the ACI, Mr. Stephane Marlait. If you could please come up here, sir, and I'm looking forward to your introductory remarks as well. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. What a pleasure to be in Aqaba in Jordan for this annual World Congress of ACI in partnership with ICA, organized by ACI Jordan. My name is Stephane Marlait. I'm the chairman of ACI Financial Market Association, and I'll be short, but I want to give you a quick few points of why a meeting like this one is important. Before I do that, I would like to thank you, the governor, to be with us today. I would like to thank the CEO of banks to be with us today. And I would like to thank, of course, ACI Jordan for the organization of this World Congress. First, about ACI. If you don't know enough about the ACI Financial Market Association and what is important for us, it's a combination of 60 different national associations around the world, from Asia to Africa to Europe, the Middle East, of course. And we've been running for almost 70 years. So we did Congress for 62 years, but we were present before. Next year will be the 70th anniversary of the association. We have international presence today, of course, from Jordan, but we have people who came all the way from Singapore, South Africa, France, UK, Denmark, Egypt, Iraq, and many more countries. So thank you for people who made the trip and made it happen despite all the challenges and flight cancellation. You made it all the way because it's important for you. And there will be three things I would like for you to think about for the next 2 days. The first is resilience. Our market is extremely resilient thanks to you. If you think about it, in the last 20 years, we saw some unprecedented lifetime events. And despite those lifetime events, our industry was very resilient. First, it was the global financial crisis in 2008, where many banks were really challenged. But the one who survived continued to finance the industry, continued to lend money to build projects. The second one was COVID. We were not prepared about it. Nobody was prepared. But we continue to work, and we adapt to do remote working, something that, as financial market, we didn't think was possible 5 years ago. But we did, and we continue to support our clients. And then the third one happened. Geopolitical crisis, wars in different parts of the world. And despite that, I'm amazed to see how the industry is continue to be resilient and work and support the economy in each country. The second point is learning. It's one of the ACI Financial Market Association values. How do we deliver education and learning to prepare for the next generation? At ACI, we have a very strong dealing certificate and also an online program that banks can use for their clients. And learning is a way to keep engaging and to keep improving the service we deliver. We also have working groups at a local level for each national association, but also at global level. We have working group in FX, in regulatory topic, in digital assets, and we started a new working group is Women in Finance. You will learn as well from the content of the event today or tomorrow. I think you will see that the speaker have interesting things for you to learn about. And the last things I would like to say is networking. This is another critical value that we bring to all of us. Networking is how do you connect with your peers? How do you connect with your vendors who are behind us on the booth? How do you connect with your clients? Those networking events that we do around the world is a good way to learn from each other. You know, I'm French, working for a Dutch company based in the UK, but coming here, I will learn a lot about what's going on in the region. So on that, I hope you will have great 2 days. Thank you for coming, and thank you for people who watch online, and see you soon. Thank you.
I love that 100%. I wish I'd said all that myself. So spot on, sir, so spot on. Finance, every day is a school day. We're always learning. And it's also a people business. It's always good to engage face-to-face where you can. So absolutely love that. 100% really resonated with me. Thank you, sir. Right, on to our next introduction. It's my pleasure to introduce the ICA Vice President, the Inter-Arab Campus Association Vice President, Mr. Karim Ghanem. If you would like to come up, please. Thank you, sir.
Morning. Your Excellency, Dr. Adel Sharkas, Governor of Central Bank of Jordan, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the ICA board and myself, it is a pleasure to welcome you all to the 62nd ACI World Congress and the 47th ICA Conference and Exhibition, held under the patronage of His Excellency Dr. Adel Al-Sharkas, Governor of Central Bank of Jordan. It is an honor to have you here as we gather to explore the pressing challenges and opportunities facing the financial markets and banking industries. In a time marked by geopolitical uncertainties, macroeconomic shifts across the globe, and with AI gaining ground in all sectors, the banking industry stands at a critical juncture against the swings. Those factors do not only test the solidarity of our grounds and our resilience against the rapidly growing technology, but they also present unique opportunities for innovations and collaborations. This conference serves as a platform for leaders, experts, and professionals to engage in panels, share insights, and reflect on the latest discoveries and strategize the future. And with the great minds in this sector, we can irrefutably navigate these complexities and drive growth and stability in the financial markets. At the same time, the renowned annual event remains an exceptional forum for networking, for building relations, and for exploring the latest topics for modernization in the financial markets. On behalf of the ICA, I would like to thank ACI Jordan, chaired by Mr. Ali Abu Swai, and every member of the organizing committee for the great efforts in making this edition another success amid the challenging geopolitical circumstances. Remarkable success which should be added to the history of achievements. Also, please allow me to extend our gratitude to all the sponsors, exhibitors, and participants who are vitally contributing to this accomplishment. As to our fellow colleagues we're missing today, those who couldn't be physically among us due to the recent escalations, we send you our warmest greetings, praying always and setting always the safety on top, and reminding them that we can always join us remotely through live streaming. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. And I would now like to welcome, as part of our introductions, our local host and facilitator, if you like, ACI Jordan's president, Mr. Ali Abu Swai, and a close personal friend of mine, I should add.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. معالي محافظ البنك المركزي الأردني الأكرم، أصحاب المعالي والسعادة والعطوفة، الزملاء أعضاء الاتحاد العالمي والاتحاد العربي للمتداولين في الأسواق المالية، الحضور الكريم، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. باسمي وباسم أعضاء الهيئة الإدارية لجمعية المتداولين في الأسواق المالية الأردن، ومن مدينة العقبة ثغر الأردن الباسم، أرحب بكم أجمل ترحيب. يشرفنا استضافة المؤتمر العالمي للمتداولين في الأسواق المالية 62، والذي يقام للمرة الأولى في الأردن، متزامناً مع انعقاد المؤتمر السنوي 47 للاتحاد العربي للمتداولين في الأسواق المالية، الذي ينعقد للمرة 6 في الأردن، حيث يصادف احتفالنا بالذكرى 30 لتأسيس جمعية المتداولين بالأسواق المالية الأردنية. وبهذه المناسبة أتوجه بالشكر والامتنان للأعضاء المؤسسين، وبعضهم موجود لدينا اليوم، حيث ساهموا بتحقيق سجل حافل من الإنجازات خلال السنوات السابقة. وأنتهز الفرصة الكريمة لتقديم الشكر الخاص لتفضل معالي الدكتور عادل شركس محافظ البنك المركزي الأردني مشكوراً بقبول رعاية مؤتمرنا هذا. وأبارك لمعاليكم حصول البنك المركزي الأردني على جائزة الملك عبد الله الثاني لتميز الأداء الحكومي عن فئة الأوائل وجميع الجهات الحكومية، وتصدر البنك المركزي الأردني المرتبة الأولى عالمياً في جائزة إعلان مايا الذي يمنحها تحالف الاشتمال المالي. شرفتونا معاليكم. كما يسعدني أن أرحب بالحضور الكريم من الدول الشقيقة والصديقة ومن مختلف دول العالم في بلدهم الثاني المملكة الأردنية الهاشمية، شاكراً ومقدراً انضمامكم للمؤتمر، متمنياً لكم قضاء وقتاً مفيداً وممتعاً في أجواء مدينة العقبة. والشكر المقدم والموصول لجميع المؤسسات التي ساهمت برعاية هذا المؤتمر، وأخص بالذكر الرائي الرئيسي مجموعة البنك العربي، مجموعة البنك الأردني الكويتي، مجموعة كابيتال بنك، بنك أبو ظبي الأول، بنك الإسكان، بنك مسك الإسلامي، سلطة منطقة العقبة الاقتصادية الخاصة، سلطة إقليم البتراء التنموي السياحي، شركة ميوركس، شركة فيناسترا، شركة ألزق، شركة الملكية الأردنية، والراعي الإعلامي زاوية، الشركة الأولى لتنظيم المؤتمرات. فشكراً جزيلاً لكم. وبالطبع الشكر لكل من ساهم معنا في إقامة هذا الحدث الهام، وأخص بالذكر السادة أعضاء الجمعية الأردنية على الجهد والتعب خلال فترة الإعداد والتجهيز للمؤتمر على مدار أكثر من سنة، متحدين كافة الظروف والمعيقات لإنجاح هذا المؤتمر. السيدات والسادة، إن مؤتمرنا هذا وعلى مدار اليومين يوفر فرص الالتقاء وتبادل الخبرات والمعرفة بين عدد من أبرز خبراء المال والاقتصاد العرب والأجانب كمتحدثين رئيسيين لهذا المؤتمر، كما يعزز التواصل ما بين أكثر من 200 مشارك من كافة أنحاء العالم، وذلك لمناقشة أهم التحديات والعمل على تقديم الحلول العملية التي تشغل اهتمامنا في الوقت الحالي وضمن الظروف الاقتصادية والسياسية التي يمر بها العالم والمنطقة العربية على وجه الخصوص. وفي الختام لا يسعني إلا أن أكرر شكري وعظيم امتناني لراعي الحفل معالي الدكتور عادل شركس، وإلى جميع المتحدثين والمشاركين والرعاة والعارضين والإعلاميين وكل من ساهم معنا في إنجاح هذا المؤتمر. فأهلا وسهلا بضيوف الأردن الكرام، وحياكم الله.
Yes, my Arabic's a trifle rusty, but I think I got the general gist of it. Okay, right. So thank you very much, sir. Now, it is, we are, of course, here under the patronage of the Central Bank of Jordan, and it is my great privilege and pleasure to introduce for the keynote address of the 62nd ACI ICA Congress the Governor of the Central Bank of Jordan, Dr. Adel Sharkas. If I could invite you, sir, to come up to the stage and present.
Good morning again. I think, Moorad, you need the translation. I have an Arabic speech. But first of all, good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you in Jordan. It's a great pleasure being with you at this event. It means a lot to us that you make it to Jordan at this time where we are facing a lot of challenges and uncertainties but assure you that Jordan is safe. As you see, Jordan is a stable country, politically, economically, and socially. So please enjoy your time in Jordan. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يسعدني أن أكون معكم هذا اليوم في افتتاح فعالية المؤتمر الدولي والعربي للمتداولين في الأسواق المالية بنسخته 62 ونسخته العربية 47. بداية أرحب بهذه النخبة المتميزة من مسؤولي الاستثمار والمتداولين بالأسواق المالية والمصرفيين المشاركين في فعاليات هذا المؤتمر، وأخص بالذكر الأخوة الضيوف من خارج المملكة، متمنيا لهم طيب الإقامة في الأردن والاستمتاع بأجواء مدينة العقبة الجميلة، ثغر الأردن الباسم وجوهرة البحر الأحمر. كما أتوجه الشكر الخاص لجمعية المتداولين بالأسواق المالية في الأردن ممثلة برئيسها سعادة السيد علي أبو صوي على كل الجهود المبذولة لاستضافة وتنظيم أعمال هذا المؤتمر بموعده. وحقيقة تنظيم علي رائع جدا، الله يعطيك العافية أنت وشبابك، والذي يشكل انعقاده المتواصل فرصة ثمينة لتبادل المعارف والتعاون في مجال تطوير التداول على المستوى العالمي والعربي. منتهزا هذه المناسبة أتقدم بالتهنئة لجمعية المتداولين بالأسواق المالية في الأردن بمناسبة مرور 3 عقود على تأسيسها، والذي شكل إضافة نوعية في تعزيز وتطوير بيئة التداول في السوق المالي الأردني وتجويد معايير هذه المهنة، فضلاً عن جهودهما في دعم وتعزيز دور الاتحاد العربي للمتداولين في الأسواق المالية. الحضور الكرام، لا يخفي عليكم أنه في عالمنا المعاصر هناك أهمية كبرى للأسواق المالية، والتي أصبح ينظر إليها كأحد مقاييس لصحة الاقتصاد، خروجاً من حدود تعريفها التقليدي بأنها مقياس لتوقعات الأرباح المستقبلية فقط، وذلك على اعتبار أن تحركات أسعار الأسهم والسندات في السوق تعكس توقعات المستثمرين بالأداء الاقتصادي واتجاهاته، وذلك رغم الإدراك بأن هذه التحركات في الأسعار قد لا تعكس الوضع الحقيقي للاقتصاد. فهناك عوامل أخرى تلعب دوراً رئيسياً في تحديدها كالمعلومات والشائعات والأحداث العالمية الغير متوقعة. وعلى الرغم من ذلك لا يمكن فصل العلاقة بين الاستقرار الاقتصادي والسوق المالي، لا سيما وأن الأسواق المالية لم تعد مجرد وسيلة للتداول بين المستثمرين فحسب، بل هي بنية تحتية متكاملة تسهم في توفير وتوجيه التمويل اللازم للمشاريع والشركات الأكثر إنتاجية، مما يساهم في تخصيص الموارد بشكل فعال. ومن هذا المنطلق تلعب الأسواق المالية دورا كبيرا في دعم النمو الاقتصادي وتعزيز الابتكار ودعم ريادة الأعمال وتوفير فرص العمل. التحديات التي تواجه الأسواق المالية، طبعا مع تزايد أهمية دور الأسواق المالية في الاقتصاد وتطور عددها بوجود 80 بورصة رئيسية في العالم حتى نهاية عام 2023 يتداول من خلالها أسهم ما يقارب 55,000 شركة، يقودنا هذا التطور إلى ضرورة التركيز على التحديات التي تواجه الأسواق المالية، والتي لم تعد تقف اليوم عند حدود التقلبات الاقتصادية كالذي شهدناها خلال العامين الماضيين من ضغوط تضخمية وسياسات نقدية تشددية لاحتوائها كانت كاشفة للتراخي في الرقابة المصرفية، والذي شكل تهديداً حقيقياً لاستقرار النظام المالي العالمي، بل شمل أيضاً وجود فجوات في التنظيم والرقابة على هذه الأسواق، وذلك على الرغم من التقدم الكبير الذي شهدناه عالمياً في هذا المجال في السنوات الأخيرة، لا سيما في أعقاب الأزمة العالمية في 2008، والتي خرجنا منها بالعديد من الدروس المستفادة، وأهمها ضرورة التركيز على الاستقرار المالي إلى جانب استقرار القطاع المصرفي، وضرورة إدخال مزيد من التنظيم الشامل للأسواق المالية وتعزيز الرقابة على المشتقات المالية. أيضا نتحدث عن التغيرات الهيكلية في النظام المالي العالمي، بما في ذلك الابتكارات التكنولوجيا في التداول والذكاء الاصطناعي والبلوك تشين والعملات الرقمية التي بدأت تلعب دورا متزايدا في تشكيل مستقبل الأسواق المالية. ورغم أن هذه الابتكارات التكنولوجية ساهمت في زيادة كفاءة وتحسين سرعة التداول والوصول إلى الأسواق المالية المختلفة، إلا أنكم تعلمون جميعا ما يواكب ذلك من ضرورة التنافس المستمر بين الأسواق المالية لجذب المستثمرين والمخاطر الكبيرة التي تتعلق بالأمن السيبراني والاختراقات الإلكترونية. وأيضا التحديات الجديدة والتي لا يغفل عنها حاليا هي التغير المناخي والتمويل الأخضر وتأثيره المتزايد على الأسواق المالية والضغوط المتزايدة على المستثمرين لتضمين التغير المناخي في قراراتهم الاستثمارية. كل هذه التحديات وغيرها المزيد تحتم علينا تنظيم أطر التعاون الدولي لتطوير حلول مناسبة للتعامل معها. فهذه التحديات قد تكون كبيرة في بعضها، إلا أنها في نفس الوقت تفتح الباب أمام فرص جديدة للنمو والابتكار. على مستوى الأسواق العربية لا شك أن اليوم فيها تغيرات جذرية وأصبحت أكثر أهمية في الاقتصاد العالمي، إذ بلغت القيمة السوقية الإجمالية للأسواق المالية العربية المدرجة في قاعدة بيانات الصندوق العربي حوالي 4 تريليون دولار في نهاية الربع الثاني من عام 2024، وبحجم أسهم بلغ 117 مليار سهم، مع التحول الملحوظ مع هيمنة البنوك وشركات النفط على البورصات العربية، لتتنوع اليوم في العديد من القطاعات كالاتصالات والعقارات والسلع الاستهلاكية. وهذا الحجم والتنوع يبرهن على التنامي المستمر في الأسواق المالية للدول العربية وفي خلق أسواق مالية أكثر مرونة مع انخفاض المخاطر بفضل هذا التنوع. السوق المالي في الأردن. على مستوى الأردن فلا شك أن مسيرة السوق المالي حققت تقدما ملحوظا، إذ بلغ إجمالي حجم الاستثمار في الأوراق المالية حوالي 27 مليار دولار، وكان لها دور هام في تعزيز الاستثمارات الأجنبية، والتي تقدر حصتها اليوم بنحو 41% من إجمالي الاستثمارات في الأوراق المالية، وهو مؤشر على الثقة في الاقتصاد الأردني والسوق المالي الأردني. ولكن ما من شك أنه لا يزال أمامنا المزيد من العمل للنهوض بشكل أكبر في أداء سوق المالي في الأردن، وهذا ما نطمح عليه من خلال رؤية التحديث الاقتصادي 2023-2033، والتي تمثل خارطة طريق لمستقبل أفضل تقوم على ركيزتين أساسيتين، وهما النمو المتسارع من خلال إطلاق كامل الإمكانات الاقتصادية والارتقاء بنوعية الحياة لجميع المواطنين. وطبعا القطاع المالي له أهمية كبرى في رؤية التحديث، وخاصة من خلال المبادرات الهادفة في تعزيز الاشتمال المالي وتطوير قطاع التأمين وتعزيز الوصول للتمويل والنهوض بالتقنيات المالية وابتكاراتها وتعزيز التحول الرقمي. آخر جزء عن السياسة النقدية ودورها في توفير مناخ ملائم لتطوير سوق المال. احنا في البنك المركزي نجحنا في إرساء أسس قوية راسخة للاستقرار النقدي والمصرفي في الأردن على مدى العقود الماضية، وهذا وفر مناخ ملائم لعمل الأسواق المالية في الأردن، وذلك على الرغم من الصدمات الخارجية المتتالية التي تعرض لها الاقتصاد الأردني. احنا بدينا نتعافى من كورونا، وبعدين أجتنا موجة التضخم، وكل هذا دفع البنك المركزي كغيره من البنوك المركزية في العالم إلى اتباع سياسة نقدية متشددة من خلال رفع أسعار الفائدة للحفاظ على الاستقرار النقدي وسعر صرف الدينار الأردني. والسعر صرف الدينار الأردني طبعاً ركيزة أساسية. It's an anchor for monetary policy in Jordan. الحمد لله السياسة النقدية نجحت في تحقيق أهدافها في الحفاظ على الاستقرار النقدي وقوة الدينار، مدعومة باحتياطيات وصلت لمستوى غير مسبوق تاريخياً 20 مليار دولار أمريكي، والتي تغطي أكثر من 8 أشهر من المستوردات. وأيضاً ساهمت هذه السياسة النقدية بالحفاظ على معدلات التضخم في الأردن عند مستوى 1.7%، وهو الأدنى تقريباً في العالم وفي المنطقة، علماً بأنه ب 2022 حققنا 4.2%، على الرغم من الصدمات الخارجية التي تعرض إليها. هذا إلى جانب طبعاً الأردن يفتخر بوجود قطاع مصرفي سليم ومتين وعصي في وجه الصدمات. الأردن جهاز المصرفي تبعه سواء من بنوك أو مؤسسات مالية تمارس أعمال مختلفة أصبحت اليوم قوية جدا. مؤشرات المتانة المالية إلها يشار إليها بالبنان، أولا لأنها تتمتع بإدارات حصيفة، وأيضا مجالس إدارة تعي ضرورة وجود الحوكمة في أخذ القرارات. وأيضا واليوم طبعا احنا معانا الست رندا صادق مدير عام بنك العربي، معانا الدكتور أحمد عبد الحليم مدير بنك الأهلي، السيدة نور جرار مدير سيتي، ومعانا أيضا من الإخوان مين معانا كمان؟ أيمن أبو دهيب مدير بنك كابيتال بالعراق، ومعانا صرافين محترمين، ومعانا مؤسسات مالية بالأردن وأشخاص من الأردن كلها محترمين. احنا شخصيا واتاتشت إلى هذا المؤتمر أهمية كبرى. يرافقني أنا الدكتور خلدون نائب المحافظ و8 سينيور ستاف من البنك المركزي. I leave the last part for you to ask other questions. Okay, sir? شكرا ويعطيكم العافية.
Thank you very much. Yes, if you would please just join me for a short conversation. That was very, very interesting. Thank you, sir. Although I'm not sure you need to go that far away, but is it my aftershave? No, that's a joke. Right, okay. This is a new advantage. Okay, right. Thank you very much, sir. That was very interesting. I was particularly enthused by your comments about reserves, foreign exchange reserves, interest rate environments. You mentioned something that I thought was very pertinent right from the start. Jordan is indeed an island of stability in a, let's face it, a volatile region. Now, taking up those comments you made, what would you say are the particular challenges for a central bank in an economy that is surrounded by geopolitical concerns, has occasions with balance of payments, but nonetheless still managed to get, just recently I noticed, a sovereign credit rating upgrade from S&P and Moody's. What would you say are the particular challenges that a central bank has to face in these sorts of economies?
I need to press something. Yes. I think central banks in general, they have a mandate, is a clear mandate. And our mandate in Jordan to maintain monetary stability, and the way we define the monetary stability, it's not only controlling inflation. Since we conducting a fixed exchange regime since 1995, so one of the barrel in the monetary policy to maintain the exchange rate. And why we focus on the exchange rate? Because it maintains our competitiveness. It gives stability and confidence in our economy. This is our experience. So in order to maintain or to achieve these targets, you need to use all your tools as a central bank. Of course, the monetary policy tools has a menu of instruments, but given what took place in the world, the high inflation that we had experienced since after COVID, for different reasons. And unfortunately, at that time, all central banks, or not all central banks, the Fed thought that this is a temporary inflation. And that's why they adopted a wait-and-see policy, and unfortunately, the inflation went out of control. But since then, they raised the interest rate 11 times. And of course, Jordan, similar to other countries, we had followed the Fed to maintain the spread that we have against the dollars, which is almost around 2%. So in order to make our local currency attractive and to make people to save in Jordanian dinar, we maintain this spread. So among all these 11 hikes, we just maintain the spreads. And this is similar to the Gulf GCC since they are also adopting the same exchange rate regime. And we were able to maintain the confidence and to restore the stability in terms of dollarization. Dollarization was 20%. Today, it's just around 18%. So the answer is to stick with your mandate. And as you know, raising 11 times the interest rate, it's not an easy. It's not an easy in the economy. It's not a popular action that you take, but we maintain the central bank an autonomy, an independent central bank that no one can interfere on our policy, and it paid off. But this is part of our successful story in Jordan. Monetary policy cannot fix everything. Monetary policy, of course, don't forget that Jordan, as I mentioned in my speech, we have a strong banking sector. And that's also a credit for our economy. The size of our banking sector, it's double our GDP. So this, it tells you how it's important to maintain healthy banks in Jordan with other institutions, of course. Now, if we go back to 2012, Jordan has started at that time economic reforms, a very harsh economic reforms. We used to pay 150 million JD, around $1.2 billion subsidy for our oil derivatives. And that was a burden on our budget. We lifted gradually this subsidy. And with other, as we move forward, we have done a lot of economic reforms, whether structural reforms or fiscal reforms. So monetary policy cannot function probably in a proper way without controlling the fiscal space, if you will. And we have succeeded. Despite all these shocks that we have faced over times, back to back, no rest at all, Jordan was able to maintain primary deficit around below 2%. We have upgraded, as you mentioned, 2 times from Standard & Poor and Moody's. And of course, still the challenges are there. Today, we are facing different challenges. It's surrounding us. It's next door. It's affected our trade, our travel receipts. But the good news is, as we move forward since October 7th last year, we were able to absorb these shocks. The story is whether these are permanent or they are just temporary shocks. Everyone thought at that time it's a temporary shock. We thought it's a 2 months, 3 months, 6 months at large. But today it's been a year. So as a government, I think we absorb it and we adjust. And the adjustment is more important than just absorbing the shocks. So in short, the economy proved to be resilient because travel receipts, for example, got affected as of the latest figure in August, 4% minus. But the good news, we were able to have more visitors from the Gulf. Jordanian who lives abroad, also they have increased their travel receipts in Jordan. Our trade got affected from, as a result, what took place in Bab el-Mandeb, but we were able to find new routes and new markets. And that's what I mean by observing the shocks and adjusting.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. That's a comprehensive answer. I have to say, it's actually a case study in central bank operation, because you mentioned the peg with the dollar and the fact that the GCC countries have the same regime. Of course, they can fall back on oil exports to maintain foreign currency reserves. A bit more challenging for Jordan, but certainly very well met. Thank you very much, sir. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So, let us carry on there. Oh gosh, that was loud, wasn't it? Let us I need a roving mic, yes. Let us carry on with a conversation. It's my pleasure to be in conversation with the CEO of the Arab Bank Group, Ms. Randa Al-Sadik. If you could come up to the stage, please. Yeah? Good to go?
Okay.
Don't know about these mics. Maybe I should hold it. No. Okay, right. So, Ms. Sadik, you are the CEO of Arab Bank Group. Yeah. It's our pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you. Great to be with you.
Thank you. And I thought we might, with your permission, have a nice friendly chat about the challenges of being in banking in this region, in this country, everything around us. We heard from the governor of the central bank, the challenges that all banks are facing. I would like to kick off with the Arab Bank, is it a motto, is it a saying? Success.
Our slogan?
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go, that's it. Thank you so much. Where would I be without you, Yasmin? Right, that's much better. Okay, so in fact, it's loud here. It must be loud out there. Right, so it's a slogan, success is a journey.
Sure.
Could you reflect on that Arab Bank journey from your perspective, meeting the challenges of the last few years? We heard from the central bank governor how it's impacted Arab Bank Group operations worldwide. And I should just say I'm familiar with them because I was the treasurer of their UK arm for a couple of years. Long time. That's a good point. But I'm completely unbiased. Could you reflect on that journey from the Arab Bank perspective and the challenges that it's faced over the recent years?
Okay. So let's start with success as a journey. And I think really this slogan resonates very deeply with us in the way we operate and in the way we also reflect in the fact that this is not just success as a journey, it's not just one point in time. It is also a fundamental belief for us that it is a success that over time you grow, you evolve, you change. So how does it, as you said, how does it reflect into what we do as Arab Bank? And it really reflects on three levels for us. The first level is the way we operate with our customers, is that we are with them, we accompany them on their journey with meeting their financial needs, whether consumers or corporates, looking at their financial objectives and how we can meet that. Number two is also internally. How do we look at success as a journey? And as I think ACI knows best, and as the governor said, it's about the dynamics of change that, financial markets, banks, we are all exposed to this dynamism that we're seeing, but that makes us have to evolve. So we're having an accelerated investment right now in innovation, and this is being really helped also by the regulations. We have a very empowering central bank that are also, I would say, pushing for innovation and making sure that we are adopting the latest as well within regulations and compliance, etc. So that's also how we deal internally. Then you have, success is a journey also talks about ups and downs, right? So as well, this resilience. And I think today we mentioned resilience, and looking around us and what's happening geopolitically, resilience is key for us. So resilience also means that there'll be ups and downs, but how do we manage that with our customers, with our stakeholders, etc. So I think success's journey just reflects at the end of it all is the way we are going to look at relationships and accompany our customers, stakeholders in this. And this is what Arab Bank has done for 94 years and is very good at doing, actually.
Thank you very much. That resonated a lot with me, I must admit. The adaptability, the resilience, meeting challenges, being forward-facing. You mentioned innovation. I want to come on to that. You beat me to it, 94 years. I was aware that it was founded in 1930. So just another 6 more years, short years, inshallah, and you can celebrate your centenary. What a party that's going to be. Yeah. Right. But let's talk about the innovation point. In fact, you also mentioned that the central bank promotes innovation and forward thinking. Now, the Arab Bank has a digital bank, a mobile app bank, right? Reflect, I think it's called. Yes.
It's a digital application platform.
Yes. How? Talk me through the thinking behind that. Was that in response to, when we see around us in many countries, neobanks, digital banks, mobile app banks? I believe you were the first in Jordan. Was it from observing what was happening in the world? Talk me through the strategy behind coming up with that, and also, I'd love to know how successful it's been up to now.
Right. Okay. So we launched Reflect in Q4 2021. And it was basically, as you said, to address a need for the young and the tech savvy, who basically wanted a an app that provides simple banking, yet also connects to their lifestyle, so that you are able to offer them the offers from your partners and ecosystem effectively, APIs, etc. And we found that to be very successful, actually. And we started to look at the UI, UX also experience that they were looking for. So we're providing for that niche. Of course, then COVID came along, and I think everybody became wanting more digital experience and wanting to do more digitally. So Reflect then really became, in 2024, I would say Reflect now is a digital banking platform that really caters to all segments, not just the youth, because in its applicability of the products and services we've been able to add, whether instant loans, deposits, cards, and all multi-currency cards that are also connected just to a debit card. But what's really important about Reflect, and it's been quite successful actually, and we've rolled it across as well into another market, is that in a way it gave us a platform to test, the digital products and we were able to retrofit then these things into our mainstream consumer banking and SME platforms as well. So, Reflect has been, I think it's also actually, it has allowed us, Reflect, in the early launch period to be able to adopt the trust and the security of Arab Bank and pass it on to Reflect. So there was a lot of uptake from our customers as well.
Which I'm unsurprised to hear, given that the way you've just described it.
Yeah.
Is it available group-wide, or is it just in...
We started in Jordan, and then we rolled it all in another market, and we partnered also, and we had a new model there. We have also partnered with like a telecom there, with another wallet, so it's really, it's taking off.
No, it sounds genuinely groundbreaking. I'm familiar with a bank in Brazil called Nubank that has exactly the same approach. I mean, they are genuinely new in that they're only 11 years old, but I was really interested, and I'm sure we all are, about you said it's a wider ecosystem that fits into the lifestyle.
Yes.
So this platform enables the user to transact in other goods and services, right?
Sure. So this is the whole idea, is that you'll get offers from either, if you're looking for sports, entertainment, music, and it connects that. And the idea then to use data and start personalizing this more. And that's where banks have been traditionally weaker, right? That we haven't been able to address what, and now I think we're getting better at it.
Forgive me, my smile's getting and broader, because this is just fantastic to hear. And it just proves a point, because back in London, all I hear is, well, the traditional banks, they're the way behind. You mentioned data, very critical point. Yet here we are in I was about to say Jordan, in Aqaba, in this region, and yet a traditional bank that has branches still is still able to be the leader in the field in this region by introducing the same thing. Yes, so that in itself shows that it's not whether you're a new bank, NEW, new bank, or an old bank with branches, it's the forward-thinking nature of your strategy. It's how you are adapting to changes in markets. Yep, yeah. Fantastic. Now, let's move on to another topic, which is there's no two ways about it. The challenges of being in this region. Right. Both the central bank governor and yourself mentioned, and our introductory speakers as well from the ACI mentioned the geopolitical challenges, the regional challenges. How does Arab Bank Group make sure that its balance sheet stays resilient, stays on top of all this when there's so many regional factors, geopolitical factors outside its control that may well impact its balance sheet? What's the strategy? How would you summarize the philosophy of Arab Bank Group to being able to meet geopolitical regional challenges, and where do you see that going in the future, in terms of your strategy?
Right. I think it's all about being prepared. And I think we're no stranger, our bank is no stranger to geopolitical events and uncertainties. So the way we tackle it is, first of all, we sort of make sure we have a prudent risk management frameworks, very robust, and it's comprehensive. And we make sure that we're all ultimately stress testing all the time. We make sure that our strategy also takes into account customer requirements and needs in tough circumstances, that we continuously have a dialogue with our regulators, and we have very, very excellent working relationships with regulators. We make sure that good governance practices are always being done. So this is the playbook, if you want, of how we have to tackle this and being prepared. But also we look comprehensively at the outcomes. So we do a lot of stress testing, scenarios, we do simulation tests, and at the end of it all, we look at all the outcomes. And outcomes that could be one event, single events, multiple events, and then you sort of look at the broad array of possible things that could happen. And then it's not only just geopolitical, right? So it could be then the impact on credit, liquidity, climate, on business disruption, everything. So it's a very comprehensive and wide. And I think this is the only way that you continuously test and retest and make sure that you are prepared. Having high levels of liquidity, obviously, is also critical in times of less stability or market volatility. Yeah.
Now, again, I couldn't help smiling towards the end when you mentioned my favorite pet topic about liquidity. Liquidity risk, outside of G7 economies, or indeed Western Europe and North America, there has been a greater emphasis on the lender of the last resort, whereas in many regions, in fact, interestingly enough, I was in Zimbabwe earlier this year to teach a course at one of the SIFI banks in Zimbabwe, where it is a genuinely dollarized economy. Forgive me, you've just got to, please indulge me for 30 seconds on this anecdote. You stop at the traffic lights and there's a fruit seller, a mango seller, at the traffic lights going from car to car. And I thought, hey, they look good. That's my favorite fruit, mangoes. And he's got a bag of mangoes. How much? $5. US dollars. So when we talk about dollarized, that's a genuinely dollarized economy, because the fruit seller at the traffic light takes dollars, not just central bank balance of payments. Now, you mentioned just now the liquidity point. For many countries, there's no lender of last resort for US dollars. They need to be resilient. Fortress balance sheet, to use Jamie Dimon's expression. That's been an Arab bank tradition right from 1930, yes?
It's not changed.
Yeah, and that's there's a lot to commend for it,
yes,
okay?
Yes.
There's a lot to, where's my friend, where's he gone? Yeah. See, am I doing a good job here, right? No, there's a lot to commend for that.
Sure.
But what I really liked was hearing of your answer there. It's not necessarily new thinking, it's traditional thinking, conservative approach to managing risk generally, adapted for the times. You mentioned the simulation stress testing. It's not just the preserves of tech-savvy companies or new banks. You can be absolutely. Now, one other thing you mentioned in the answer now was the customer. Now, everybody says this. Every bank in the world says, we put the customer first. Every bank says that, right? What's the genuine customer-focused strategy of our... How do you put the customer first? How would you say you put the customer first?
We also have customer centricity, and we put the customer first. I think we're becoming much better at it, and we're evolving in how we do it. And that is because we're using new technologies, we're using data, we're making sure that we sort of give the customer what they want. So, you know, we don't just give them all products, etc. You're trying to personalize to a certain extent what they need. This is what we're trying to do to personalize. Second is that we're trying to be a bit more comprehensive in giving more of advice as well, right? Because transactions are transactions, they can do it digitally and with other banks, but also advice, financial well-being, what things they can do, how they should plan, etc. So that is really important. The other thing that we're looking at is, of course, you know, we understand, we're hearing the customer. When they're saying, you know, we're dealing with a fintech, they're quicker, they're seamless, they're better. So we're hearing that, and we're seeing to the extent that we can improve, and we've improved a lot, or our digital channels, of course. Most transactions, by the way, at Arab Bank are digital channels. But what we are doing is we're also looking at, you know, we're putting fintechs as a benchmark, saying how we can further improve, but subject to regulations, compliance, because banks are still more regulated. And we like that because that gives us the trust for the banking sector. And the other thing that we're looking at is we're looking at certain segments that our customer, you know, and we're saying this segment, for example, entrepreneurs. I think, you know, in Jordan here, there's a lot of focus on entrepreneurship. The central bank also provides SMEs and entrepreneurship incentives for us to also lend and help. So how do we, as well as a bank, look at that segment? So in terms of the retail customer, this is what we do. In terms of the corporate customer, obviously it's very much relationship driven, understanding the needs, making sure that we provide the advice as well as the requirements that they have.
Excellent, thank you, thank you. Now, I can't resist this question, and this hasn't been advised to you previously, by the way. I can't resist this question. Any plans to, as you are Arab Bank after all, any plans to add to your geographical base, you know, another country, another location, another region? Any plans on that front?
Right, so...
Or maybe I should have asked, forgive me, maybe I should have asked, do you see any opportunities on that front?
Funny you should say that. So what we are basically in most Arab countries, historically we were in Iraq and then we left. Now we are planning to go back to Iraq. So we are just basically finalizing our approvals there. So hopefully by end of year, Q1, we should be operational. So no, there is another country that we're looking to go into. Yeah. Good,
great. I would have hated if you said, no, sorry, Moorad, we're not interested. No, that's great, thank you. Right, now this is I think, a very topical subject around the world. In 2024, even today, there are not that many women CEOs of banks, whether I could be in London or in Amman or anywhere, and it's just a statement of fact. Now, personally, I think it's a powerful statement or flag post, if you like, when one observes in any field, but certainly in banking, women becoming CEOs of banks. What would you say? I would love to just know something very briefly, because I know you didn't want to talk about too much, but very briefly about your own personal journey in this regard, but really more something that's of interest to you, I know. What would you say to a woman who is embarking on her career in banking and finance, you know, suggestions, tips, advice on staying that course and achieving the pinnacle like you have?
As you said, I would say stay the course. Don't be shy, be bold. I think what has worked for me has been two things. First, access is that I had really good male bosses as well who allowed to give me access to, job opportunities and, just opportunities in general. But then make the most of it. You have to expand, you have to learn. And honestly, in this, as again, the governor said, we live in this very dynamic world. If we don't continuously learn and improve and adapt and do things, it's going to be tough. But if you do that, there's absolutely, no reason why any woman cannot make it to the top right now.
I absolutely loved it when you used the word bold, my own favorite word when it comes to ambition and trying to make things happen. And as you said, resilience, adaptability, staying the course.
Yeah.
Ms. Sadik, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you. Thank you very much. Thank you.